my name's Nell. Today we'll be doing an all-over body workout on the floor for beginners. Today's workout is level 1 of a comprehensive 12-level full body floor series that I'm really excited to share with you. Over these 12 videos, my workouts progressed from beginner to advanced. I've been actually teaching these programs for 15 years and they successfully progress you through the repertoire. You'll find both modern and traditional exercises in these programs. You can actually download a printable program below. I hope you enjoy, so let's get started. Lying on your back, put a tennis ball in between your knees. Make sure you're lying straight, pubic bone, navel and nose in one line. Ribcage breathing and navel to spine. Breathing in, wide ribs. Breathing out, draw your belt in and up. Breathing in, lower ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. Breathing out through the straw, drawing your belt in and up. Spine curls. Imprint the lower back, tuck the tailbone up, lift up. Inhale at the top and then exhale, roll back down through the spine, return to neutral. Imprint with length and then press into your heels. Make sure that your ribs stay down towards your hips at the top there. As you roll back down, really tuck the tailbone up to articulate the spine. Gently pressing the hands down into the floor will help you connect to your lats. And then as you roll down, try and lengthen the spine long. Imprint using your abs and then lift the pelvis up using the hamstrings, co-contractioning the hamstrings, the glutes and the tummy to get this beautiful length through the pelvis and the hips. Reaching the tennis ball away from your pubic bone on the way up and on the way down. Feeling the feet imprint down into the floor, feel the back of the arms imprint, the collarbones are down and the spine is long as you roll back down to neutral. Get rid of the tennis ball, put it on your belly. If this falls off, just get rid of it, or you can tuck it underneath your t-shirt. Now you do a curl up, you lift up, look at the tennis ball and then inhale, lower back down. So the idea here is to lift your head and your shoulders up within a range that the tennis ball doesn't bob up and down. You want to feel like the tennis ball is staying really flat, drawing down towards your spine. And then into obliques. So lift one shoulder blade off. You lift and then lift the other shoulder blade off. Exhale, lift and rotate, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift and rotate, inhale, lower. The lower back stays motionless, the pelvis stays motionless. Now put your hands in a diamond around the tennis ball, keeping the belly flat. We're doing knee floats. Lift one knee up, followed by the other. Breathe into pause, breathe out to place one leg down, followed by the other. The challenge here is to lift your legs up without the tennis ball bobbing up and down and without flattening or lifting your lower back. So you're pivoting around the hip sockets here whilst keeping the lower ribs, the lower back very still. Breathing into the ribs, keeping the belly firm. And then we'll put that to the side and we're going to go into hip rolls. So arms at a stop sign. If this isn't great on your shoulders, just reach your arms out to crucifixion. And then legs are up. Inhale, roll, and then exhale, return. Roll onto your right hip, lift your left hip up. Inhale, and then exhale, return. The priority is to keep your shoulder blades down on the floor as you lift one hip up. Only roll the pelvis within a range that you can keep your scapula plugged down into the mat. And to return, think of imprinting the lower rib, the waist and the hip to return so you really get into those obliques. Keep pulling the armpits down and towards the knees there so that your scapula is stabilized. Our target area are the obliques, the waist muscles. The legs must stay together. And then place one leg down followed by the other. Now roll onto your side and we'll go into arm openings. So you can put a cushion underneath your head or a pillow underneath, side lifted, arms out in line with your shoulders, and you rotate. You lift the arm up and then you rotate your shoulder blade down towards the floor. You lift the shoulder blade up and then you lower the arm down. Keep the left collarbone away from the ears. Keep the knees and the hips as even as possible, reaching through the left knee towards the wall that you're facing as you reach your left arm towards the back wall. Baby clams, fire hydrant. Arm underneath your head, waist is lifted. Lift the leg up and down. The knees are in line with your hips, the feet are in line with your knees. Try not to use your thigh, use the muscle at the back of the left hip there. And then into circles. Hand is on the belly so you keep your belt in a notch, breathing into the rib cage. And about 6 circles in one direction, 6 circles in the other. Because it's a beginner 1 program, do about 6 reps until you build up your strength. So slippery, loose hip as you circle that leg, and then knock knee, toe tap. Internal rotation, external rotation, focusing on the muscle at the back of the hip. If you had a pair of pants on, the pockets at the back there, that left pocket, they're the muscles that we're targeting. And then we transition to the other side through threading needle. Shoulders over wrists, knees underneath the hips, spine long. Exhale, lower down, ear towards the mat. Inhale, pause. Exhale, press into your hand, connect to your core, return to tabletop. Left arm slides down. Imagine you're looking underneath your bed for a pair of sunnies or something there. Keep the hips as stable and still above your knees as you can. So there's a bit of weight into your left hand. Press into your left hand from your abdominals. Return long spine, and then sliding ear towards the mat like you're listening to the mat, and then press into your right hand and return back to tabletop. So now the other side, and we do arm openings. Your shins are in line with the wall that you're facing. Your back is in line with your hips. Lift the arm up and then rotate your chest. Just use the first couple to mobilize and stretch out. The right shoulder needs to stay, collarbone needs to stay away from the ears as you rotate. Such a beautiful stretch for your chest and your mid-back. The arm moves and then the shoulder blade towards the floor. And then you lift the shoulder blade and the arm and then return the arm. Allow the head to drop down so you get a bit of a neck stretch. Allow the head to roll from the back of your skull to the side of your skull naturally. And then stay on that same side, but then do baby clams again. I actually missed this side when I was recording it, so I had to use the footage of the left side. So you're still doing the right side on this side. Okay, and you do your fire hydrant, and then you do your circles. So just make sure you're doing the other leg, okay? And then you go into your reverse the circles. Belly firm, spine is long, waist is lifted, hip is loose and relaxed. Really getting into those deep glute muscles. And then knock knee and toe tap. So both sides will have been completed at the end of this. And then there you go. So now we're going into rollbacks. Okay, so you're using your arms to roll onto your sacrum, and then you're using your arms, so you're going to lie down, arms go over your head, roll onto your side, use your arm to get up, and then squaring back up. You're on your sit bones, you roll onto your coccyx, you roll onto your sacrum, use your arms to help you imprint your lower back. Pausing there, lengthen the tailbone. Now as your arms go over your head, keep the impression of your lower back down into the floor. And then roll onto your side. You might want to alternate which side you lift up with so you're not favouring one side. So you start hands behind your thighs, use your arms to roll and make contact with your lower spine. And then scoop the belly in, let your arms go, keep the pressure of your lower spine down, roll onto your side. So the challenge here is to roll back and articulate through your lower back initially. Squeeze your buttocks to help you tuck. Keep your hamstrings, your glutes and your abdominals engaged. Now as your arms go over, this is the challenge, no gap. I should not be able to slide my hand underneath your lower back there. So we're really lengthening and tractioning out through the lower back bones. Hamstrings, tummy, co-contraction of the glutes, the hamstrings, and then lower all the way down. Spine, leg, supine leg lift. Hands are behind your head, elbows are out wide, the legs are straight. The legs are apart, you lift your head and your chest up square to your hips. You lift one leg straight up, one leg straight down. Imagine you had skis on, okay, and the skis are going straight up and straight out the width of your pelvis. Fantastic for your obliques, for the lower abdominals. Breathe out to lift with length, breathe in to lower with length. Breathe out to lift with length. It's quite challenging to keep the pelvis really stable and avoid rocking to the side that the leg is lifting. So you've got to really use your obliques to stay aligned. So now arms up to the ceiling, knees up into tabletop. We're going into hundreds prep. You're going to lift up, arms down, keep the hands up above your greater trochanter, and then you're just pausing here. And like the abdominal and navel to spine breathing that we did at the beginning of the class, keeping the belly contracted on the inhale, deepen the contraction on the out breath. Feel the ribs widen, the shoulder blades widen, and then exhale, inside thighs, tummy are working. If your neck gets sore, grab hold of the back of your head, fully interlace the hands behind your head so you can really relax the front of your neck, allowing the weight of your head to rest into your hands, but keeping the lift up. So this is all about staying lifted. The shoulder blades are off, the elbows are reaching out away from the joints, so your shoulders are wide at the back. And then place one leg down, follow the other, followed by the other, and then lower the head down. So grab the triad ball or the Pilates ball or a cushion. Single leg stretch. We're with our hands pressing against our thighs. So make sure you're in a neutral position and then push your hands into your thighs into your hands, straighten your other leg and then switch. Push, push, reach, draw the belly in and then return. Inhale. Exhale, press, press, reach, keep exhaling. Inhale and then scoop the belly in on the out breath and then return. Breathe in, breathe out, press, press, reach, breathe in, breathe out, draw the belly, reach the leg away. You should feel a bit of a quiver here. I like to think of pushing the thigh muscle up towards the knee there so you get this beautiful tractioning of the thigh bone out of the hip. Up, up, scoop and lengthening out away from the pelvis. The tummy's lifting up, the thigh bones are reaching out, creating space in your body. Pushing the hands against the thighs are pressing against the hands, and then you draw the belly in, deep abdominal connection. Breathe in to pause there and then breathe out, draw the tummy even and flatter and then return. Place one leg down, followed by the other. So you can check your program that is a printable PDF, and it's a good reference point for you to have in your studio or at home to work out to. Now, lying on your stomach, we're going into swan dive prep. The legs are apart in external rotation, the pubic bone is pressing into the mat. The hands are sort of in line with the face or the neck or the shoulders, depending on your spine. So you lift your chest up and then you lift up, arching back. So this is a mobility exercise. So press down, lead with the chest as you reach forward and up. And then as you lower your elbows down, lengthen through the crown of the head and then contract the core. As you push the hands down, nip the ribs in towards your hips. The front of your hips, though, the ASISs will lift up, and then we're going into a prone quad stretch. So grab hold of your left foot, draw it in towards your hip. If you need a strap, then go for that. Pubic bone pressing down, the hamstrings, the glutes are engaged. and then the other side. Squeezing the back of your right knee to lengthen the front of your right thigh. Buttocks, back of legs are engaged to help you lengthen through your lower back. Into diamond press, so hands in a diamond, forehead down on the mat between your hands there. So it's a very small lift. You're lifting your chest off but keeping the ribs down. Feel your shoulder blades laterally rotate as you lift and return. So your armpits are pulling down and towards the mat. Your legs are reaching out away from your hips, feeling that length out through your thighs. We're trying to target around the mid-back muscles. Co-contracting the belly as well, tummy and mid-back. Reaching the breastplate forward and up helps you get that length out of your pelvis as the legs reach in the opposite direction. Keeping the shoulder blades wide, the tips of your shoulders are sliding wide apart from one another. So you can reference the program here to see what's next. And then we're going into dart. So your arms are down, palms are up. You lift your chest, keep your ribs down, palms face the floor, and then you return internally rotating the head from one ear to the other. Now here, glutes, hamstrings are activated, tummy is scooping up, and then the lower shoulder blades are anchoring the scapula down. You want the tips of the shoulders going from a wide position to a V position, really externally rotating the humerus bone, the arm bones, the top of the arm bones. Mid-back, tummy, legs, lengthen. Trying to lengthen the back of your body and the front of your body as you do thoracic extension. And now into big squeeze. Press the heels, the calves, the inside thighs, the buttocks. Squeeze your glutes super duper duper hard. You can have a little poke, make sure your buttocks is engaged. It's amazing. Like when I give this to clients, they think they're squeezing their bum, and then they go to have a little poke. One butt cheek might be engaged, the other one's totally disengaged. So use your hands. Press into your glutes to feel that connection, to feel that contraction. So the toes are together, and then you draw the heels together, the calves, the inside thighs. Now pinch your buttocks super duper hard, like you're trying to leave an impression of your pubic bone down into the mat. The tummy is lifting up. There's a real sense of elongation through your legs as you do this. And now into a prone leg lift. So the legs are sit bone width apart. You're lifting and lowering the leg, keep the thigh engaged, so suck the kneecap up, and you're pivoting around the hip socket. It doesn't matter how high the leg goes, it's more about the length and the stretch out and up. Keeping the glutes engaged throughout is the challenge, keeping them activated the whole time, using the buttocks and the back of the legs to open the front of the hips. Pubic bone is pressing down as the leg reaches out. And then we'll go into a shell stretch. So it's like a child's pose, but it's a Pilates style. So you lift your pelvis up off the heels, your thighs, your tummy is lifting up away from the thighs, your glutes are contracting, you're in a curved spine. And now into spine stretch. So your feet are out the width of the mat, feet are flexed. Exhale, forward, inhale, return. Keeping up on top of your sit bones. The shoulder blades widen as you flex forward, and then the shoulder blades go back to neutral. The scapula widen and then they return back to neutral. Ribs to hips like you're doing a sit-up, but you're in a seated position. Ribs to hips, pelvis and lower back stay motionless. Roll like a ball prep actually. This is a prep, and this is all about momentum. So lift the heels, balance, and then roll, and then crown at the head forward. You want to roll through the lower back, so you want to feel a sense of letting go, balancing, and then let momentum take over. The buttocks, the hamstrings, the inside thighs are contracting to help you posteriorly tilt the pelvis and open up your lumbar. And feel the massage of your spine on the mat as you go back and forward. So now into long leg lifts. Bottom knee in a chair position, knee in line with hip, underneath side lifted. Right leg is out in line with your hip, internally rotated. So toe on the floor, heel up. You lift the leg up and then lower it back down, just up to about hip height. So imagine there's a skewer going through the front of your hip socket, out the back of your pocket, and you're pivoting the thigh up and down from that point. And now into side kick. Keep the foot in line with the hip, that's the challenge here. Flex the foot, point the foot. Thigh muscle strong, glute and hamstring. Thigh engaged, and then bottom engaged. Keep the foot in line with the hip, don't let it drop down. And then into power circles, so you're going to circle the heel around, 6 in one direction, 6 in the other. You go up, back, down and forward around the hip height. It's like a cone shape. The hip being the tip and the heel circling the perimeter of the cone. Our target area is the outside hip muscles. Now stay on that side and do side lifts. Your legs are slightly forward of your body, so if you were to look down at your toes, you could see them from where you are lying. Breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower. It's like the bottom leg is lifting the top leg. Keep that underside lifted as best you can, so you're reaching the feet away and up. Inside thighs are working hard. Obliques are the main prime movers here. Now into side reach on the elbow. Okay, so drop your shoulder up around your ear and then pull it away from your ear. Sag the rib cage down and then lift it up. Okay, so this is the incorrect position. This is the correct position. I like to teach that first so people can feel the correct start position. Breathe out to lift the hips, breathing in to lower. And roughly your feet are in line with your pelvis, your knees are bent up. Okay, and you're lifting and lowering. You can slightly rotate your right shoulder forward so you're getting into the obliques, mainly about that scapular, serratus and lat connection. Now we'll do those 3 exercises on the other side. So long leg lift, knee in line with the hip, underneath side lifted, toe down, heel up. You're going to lift the foot and then lower it back down. I like to think of an image like a tin of paint, and you're just trying to tap the big toe into the tin of paint to keep that internal rotation to get into glute med and min. And now, foot in line with the hip, flex the foot, side kick. A little kick forward and reach it back. Thighs sucking the kneecap up. The thigh muscle is strong. Point the toes, squeeze the back of the leg. Front of the leg working, and then the back of the leg. Keep the foot in line with the hip. One more. Doesn't matter how big the range is. And then we go into power circles, drilling a hole with that heel out. Through the heel, through the wall. Nice even circle. Think back of the leg, outside leg, back of the leg, outside leg. Reaching, reaching, reaching out. And then side lifts. So the legs are slightly forward of your body to get into your obliques more than your quadratus lumborum. And then the tummy is scooping in and up, lifting both legs up. The bottom leg feels like it's lifting the top leg up to keep the adductors engaged. Pressing into that top hand is totally fine at this stage. And now side reach on the elbow, draw your shoulder up and then pull it down. It's about keeping that upper trapezius muscle soft. That's it. You put your fingers on those upper trapezius muscles. Make sure that they're soft by anchoring your lats and serratus. Even keep that hand there. Only lift up and down within a range that you can keep your upper trapezius disengaged. Armpit drawing down towards the hip throughout. So it's a concentric and eccentric contraction of your lat. And your deltoids are definitely working there as well. 4-point shoulder shrugs. Okay, stack your joints. Scapular depress and then back to neutral. Scapular protract and back to neutral. Sorry, scapular retract and back to neutral. Scapular protract and then back to neutral. It's about the brain registering the movement of the shoulder blades. The middle border of the shoulder blades draw together, they widen, and then they widen even more. Elevation and depression. The tips of your shoulders widen as the collarbones lift up. The tips of your shoulders draw down to a V as they return, so as they draw down and then return to neutral. Collarbones go up, back to neutral. Collarbones go down, back to neutral. Tuck your toes. 4-point kneeling with the knees off. So just hover the knees, just up off the floor there, like it's just a little matchbox space underneath your knees. So breathing in wide into your ribs and then breathing out, draw your belt in and up. Keep that connection, lower ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. And then exhale, press your shoulder blades wide, press into your hands. Breathing in, lower ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. Pelvic floor, navel to spine, draw your corset in. Keep that deep connection as you feel the movement of your ribs as the lungs fill and empty. Stay there, one breath at a time, and then place the knees down. Toes stretch with a wrist stretch, okay? So this is fantastic. Mobilizing the back fascia train, stretching out your hands. You grab hold of the thumb, give it a little stretch, and then place the front of your hands down, stretching out your wrists. Keep the toes curled underneath you. Then we've got a kneeling hip flexor stretch in neutral. So you're kneeling up, have your hip above your knee, buttocks contracted, hamstring drawing down, tummy engaged, lifting up and out of your pelvis, balancing out the front of your hip by engaging the back of the hip and lifting up out of your tummy. Press the back foot into the floor and then lunge forward. So you can place the right hand on the outside of your right foot, or if you need to, put your right hand on the inside of your right foot, pressing both feet down into the floor. The left buttocks is contracted. The left knee is down on the floor, but it's almost like you're trying to lift the left knee off. And then shift the weight back, hip above the knee, into a kneeling hamstring stretch. The chest, the torso stays connected to the thigh, so you won't necessarily straighten your leg. Allow your head to drop down and then switching sides. So kneeling hip flexor stretch. So you're standing up on your knee. The legs are apart for balance. Buttocks contracted, hamstring engaged. The belly is lifting you up and out of your pelvis. You're breathing in a way that's creating space in the front of the hip, creating space and opening in the hip socket. The shoulders are neutral, and then lunging forward, wiggle the foot forward. Hands down either side of the foot, either hands on the outside of the foot, or you can put the left hand on the inside of the foot, and then push your feet down, push your right foot down into the mat like you're trying to lift your right knee off, but keep it on the floor. Glute engage, shoulders down, and then keep your hands where they are and shift your weight back. Drop the head down, relax your jaw, let the weight of your head stretch the hamstring. Sending your breath into the back of the leg, let it release. And then into a pigeon stretch. If this is not for you, you can do this lying on your back against the wall, like a figure 4 stretch. So have your right foot in contact with your left hip, and then your right knee is up towards your right armpit. You wiggle the back leg back, and then feeling like you're stretching the left leg back and the right thigh out. Breathing in a way that's creating space in the hip. Come up, tuck the back toe, push into your hands, connect to your core, and then the left knee goes towards your left wrist. Tuck your back toes, scoot it back 3, 2, 1 times. So you're lengthening the leg out, and then over you go. And do a body scan, just noticing anywhere that there's unnecessary tension in your jaw and your neck and your upper shoulders, just letting that go and sending your breath into your hips, stretching the thighs out away from the hips. Tuck the back toe, push into your hands, connect to your core, and then into pyramid. So your hands are out the width of the mat, middle finger straight ahead, feet are pubic bone or tennis bone width apart, feet are parallel. If you're tight, bend your knees. Press into your index and thumbs and wrap your armpits in towards one another so your shoulder blades sort of wrap around the back of the rib cage in towards your breastplate. Imagine someone's pulling your hips out away from your hands to create space and length in your spine and your intestines and your organs there. And then out into a plank, shoulders above your wrists. One breath at a time, feel the movement in your rib cage and then draw your kneecaps up. Breathing wide into your ribs and then draw the belly button up towards your spine. Place the knees down. And then grab a THERABAND, quite a light one, nothing too heavy. And then we're doing rotator cuff series 1. So we're doing dumbwaiter here. It's good to put a towel around the back so the elbows either side are holding onto a towel around your ribs there. And we're sending the message from the brain to the shoulder blades to do the work. And then you've got 10 little pulses or thereabouts. Keep drawing the middle line of your scapula in towards one another. And then you put the THERABAND around your rib cage at the back, and then reaching forward, open, reach forward and then back. Deltoids, shoulders, deltoids, and then rhomboids. Keep reaching the arm bones out away from your shoulders, working serratus as well. Shoulder blades widen, they draw together, they widen, and then they draw together. Widen, and then draw them together. If it feels a bit necky, then you need to use your lower traps. Armpits draw down towards the hips. And then rhomboid, so palms are up towards the ceiling. Focus on the muscles in between the shoulder blades, separating your hands. So the shoulder blades are drawing together, and then they widen. Scapula at the back, and then they widen. Draw them together, and then draw them forward. Pushing into your feet, into your knees to lift you up and out of your hips. And then THERABAND rowing. THERABAND around your feet, rotate your palms up, rotate them down. Breathe out to move, breathe in to return. Swipe the elbows back, kiss the shoulder blades back together. Elbows swipe, then shoulder blade focus. And reach the elbows down to the back of the mat. So they're reaching back but down to the diagonal. You're nice and still on your sit bones, lifting up and out of your pelvis. If it's too hard sitting like this, then put your back up against a wall and do it. Neck stretch. Put one hand on the side of your head, reaching the other hand away from your body, lengthening out the arm away from your shoulder. And then just experiment with where you need to angle your head so that you get the best stretch in your neck. Maybe nose up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting up and out of your pelvis. Keep lifting up and out of your chest. Roll your head down to the floor and slowly lift it up. And then the other side. So the weight of your arm is enough here. Don't pull on your head. Lift your chest up, pull your shoulder down. If it's too uncomfortable sitting, then kneel up. Otherwise, sit up. Energetically, the arm that's reaching down and out is really gently pulling the shoulder blade down. As you rotate the head, send the breath into the muscles that are tight. And then rotate your head down and then lifting up. Finishing off, THERABAND squats. Squat back and then standing up. Inhale, lower, exhale, return. Keep the neck in line with the sacrum, the back of the head in line with the sacrum. Squat down so your hips lower down in line with your knees. The spine is straight. Okay, THERABAND lunge, left leg back, bending and straightening, using the rotator cuff muscles, your shoulder blades to hold the band up, palms facing forward. It's a bit of a balance challenge as well. Keep that right knee in line with the middle toe. And then swapping sides. Right foot over to the right. If balance is an issue, your legs are probably too close together. So imagine a train track line and your feet are on either line, keeping them apart. Working the left glute and then into one last leg exercise. These are quite powerful. You can have a lighter THERABAND. THERABAND hip hinge. Okay, so you're pivoting in the hips. Breathe into hinge, keep the buttocks contracted, and then think sit bones to heels. Sit bones to the back wall, sit bones to heels. Long waist, long spine. Keeping the hands back in line with your shoulders, and then release. Standing calves. You're going to rise up and down. Elevate the heels up and down, pressing into the big toe joints. The back of the legs are engaged, the glutes, the hamstrings. The tummy is lifting back and up, and then into prances, so one at a time. Really articulating through your feet, rolling through the balls of the feet. You want to stay nice and light on the heels like a boxer on their heels.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. I'm really looking forward to taking you through level 2 in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date and get notified when it's released. If you actually did enjoy the workout, tapping the like button below is really appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, movement is medicine.